I've never had a credit card and I'm 28 years old. That's right. I've never seen the appeal. So it all began when I was in my early teens and I listened to Chuck Norris's audiobooks, such as the official Chuck Norris fact book, which I have a physical copy of somewhere. And I don't know if it's down here right now or wherever, but I got it with the gift card to Barnes and Noble I got for winning Student of the Month in freshman year of high school. True story, but that's a topic for another day. Anyway, in his books, he basically cited Dave Ramsey for avoiding credit cards and avoiding debt where possible, and I took that to heart. Today, I still wholeheartedly agree with the idea to avoid debt where possible. So, for example, if I were to get a credit card right now, I would treat it like a debit card. This is not financial advice. This is just me explaining what I would do if presented with a, a credit card that I could use. On the bright side, if some scammer tries taking out a credit card in my name to commit some kind of fraud, it'll be easy to figure out that it's not me. But anyway, 10 years into adulthood, I kind of understand why a credit card isn't a bad idea. I mean, I still don't think it's a particularly good thing, or I don't like that it's allegedly essential to buy a house, but apparently it is, and I guess I probably should get one now. So, over the years, I basically steered clear of credit cards because I heard all kinds of horror stories about getting into debt. Let's see, what's a specific one? No one that I know in my personal life is in major credit card debt to my knowledge, but it certainly wasn't something I was into because I was always under the impression that debt is bondage, debt is slavery, which I got from Chuck Norris's books, and he's not completely wrong. I'm not just saying this to defend my rationale for avoiding something that, at the very least, wouldn't have been a bad idea to have. I still have a hard time giving credit cards a ringing endorsement, but today I'm trying to reframe it in my mind as a necessary evil for certain things. Again, none of this is financial advice. This is just me telling you why I have avoided them for so long and why I went, you know what? I'm going to merge this in with the idea I had about debt. So, the reason that I never wanted to get into debt was because, like I said, the Chuck Norris fact book conditioned me to believe that debt is bondage and slavery, which it kind of is a form of slavery if you sit down and think about it. I mean, if you've seen Ready Player One, all the people who went into debt for hunting for Halliday's Easter egg, they kind of got into, they were literally turned into indentured servants in both the book and the movie. So I guess that was kind of what I thought I would be. I mean, I know that there, there's no legal indentured servitude for credit card debt. But with the obligations that it creates or that it ties you to something, then with some mental gymnastics, it is kind of a form of slavery. However, in the last couple of years of spending time on YouTube, I've seen that, you know what, maybe there are some things that are worth going into debt for. College, only if you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer or something high paying and you actually see it through. You don't just go in there, think that you're going to change the world, you're going to be a, trying to think of a polite way to describe this. You don't think that you, as long as you don't go in there thinking that you're going to change the world or be the second coming of Christ or something like that. As long as you go in there knowing, eh, I would say not romanticizing it, like I said in my video about the pitfalls of romanticizing life decisions and things like that. As long as you go in there the realistic plan and understand that what it entails, what to expect, then that's fair game. But if you were to go saying that you're going to go into college for the same reason I went into it in 2015 and why, and you're just going there for the experience, I would strongly advise against that, especially if you're taking out loans to do that. I mean, if you or your parents have the money to burn for the college experience, by all means, I'm not going to try and stop you. I'm not even going to try and stop you from taking out loans if you really believe in that. But I am going to say that, and again, this is not financial advice, it's not a good idea. It's not a good idea to take out loans just for the experience. The way I see it, taking out loans for the college experience is no different than taking out a loan to go to Disney World. I'm just going to say it. Now, if you're actually going to, if you go in there with a plan, knowing exactly what you want to do with classes, you prioritize the coursework, you prioritize all, all of that, then by all means, go for it. Have a plan. Make sure you know how you're going to get the job in the field and that you start paying it off as soon as possible. Make sure that instead of getting a minimum wage job somewhere, get an internship at something relevant to it and go for it right away so that you can face enough rejections to sift through and find one that will actually take you in and then do the thing. Because that's probably what I would have done if I'd actually committed to the TV studio thing that much sooner. The TV concentration, that is. Don't just spend your summers running around doing whatever. Try to graduate as early as possible and again, find internships so that you can build practical experience. I'm not just saying that for TV studio work, I'm saying across the board for anything. But I digress. Don't go into debt just for the college experience because if you go into debt for just the experience and not for the degree to actually increase your earnings over time with a plan, then it's no different than taking out a loan to go to Disney World. I think even with all the nickel and diming that I hear that they're committing at the parks there, that would actually be a better value for now. We'll see what happens. But yeah, in terms of a house, I think it's perfectly fair to go into debt for that if you get one that's small enough for or just the right amount of space for you and however many other people. Like me, I know right now, if I were able to get a house and have it all to myself, 900 square foot building, that would be all I need. And I'll admit I fantasize about how I would set up the house I live in now with my parents and brother if I were to have it all to myself, meaning all three of them move out, either my parents move into a, a condo of like my grandparents' by their own choice, and my brother finds his own place like my sister did. Unfortunately, that's just wishful thinking, and I'd have to either work up the credit or I'd have to basically be a caretaker of the house while my parents were not here, and then I wouldn't have much choice with letting them stay if they had to come visit for anything. Kind of like my uncle with the house that my grandparents own. I mean, I wouldn't be against being a caretaker of it, but I would definitely prefer having an entire place to myself as I've fantasized about since I was 12. Unfortunately, that's about as far as I go because I have too vivid an imagination for my own good. Well, anyway, I also wouldn't go into debt for a car. I also wouldn't go into debt for a car on account of the fact those can be, first off, you can easily buy a used one that functions and has minimal repair necessities. Second, if you don't absolutely need to be the one driving, you could just, you might be able to work it out so that Uber is cheaper. I mean, if you're able to go s- go in a little later than usual and avoid the rush hour traffic, then it could actually be cheaper depending on where you are. Don't quote me on that because, again, this is not financial advice. But yeah, this is why overall the whole debt thing I have, that's the whole problem with debt I have is why I never got a credit card and why to this day at the age of 28 I still don't have one. I might get one sometime. I'm trying to frame it in my head as a necessary evil that I will treat like a debit card and only as a debit card. Let me put it to you this way. The one tidbit of Dave Ramsey's advice that I would actually take to heart is don't spend what you don't have. So if I do not have the money for it, then I am not going to buy it. I don't care if I have a credit card I can put it on and pay off over time. I don't care if it's because the rest of the money is allocated towards something that's coming up. And I could just pull from that, and well, I might do that in a life or death situation. But again, don't spend what you don't have, and you'll be good to go. So I'm going to leave it here for the video. Comment down below your thoughts on credit card and debt. Give this video a like, subscribe for daily videos, and I will see you soon.